Well, as you can see, winter is back in a big way, but I spent part of yesterday getting 1113's back end in the shop here, as well as the one from my grandpa's old cat, 2115, ready to begin that phase of the rebuild. And then I got to thinking, you know what, on the diesel engine, I didn't think about air cleaner. I can't believe I forgot about that. So I went and dug 1113's air cleaner out, and yeah, it's pretty bad. Now, the whatever something that landed on top of 1113 at one time and dented the top of the radiator shell and a few other things really did a number on the air cleaner. But, well, few things I've seen here so far. I don't think this is 1113's original air cleaner, but it is the correct style that had the soldered construction where the tube comes out of the top. But this is the original patina of 1113 right here, and you can see this is a much lighter yellow, so I'm pretty sure that air cleaner had been changed out at one point in time, but it is the right piece. The problem is, it was really, really heavily damaged. This thing, it crunched in heavily right here to the point where it actually pulled away from the retention band on this side. Something hit the top really hard, dented this in right here, broke the solder joint right there. You can see where it's caved in here, and it's just, yeah, it got smashed. I'll tell you what, it's really, really in bad shape. Now, I'm not totally up the creek on this one because I do have this air cleaner here that's also off my grandpa's cat. It is the slightly newer design where this top pipe actually bolts on instead of the all soldered unit construction like this. That is, well, a direct changeover for what this would be. The internal elements are pretty much all the same, and I think even the can is about the same. The main difference is this top piece here. But I think it's worth trying to rehab this one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to save it. It's going to have to almost completely come apart, and here's where I'm at with it. At this point, what do we have to lose, right? The thing is already smashed. It's already crunched. It's not like I'm going to hurt it worse than it's already been hurt. So, yeah, I think we're going to dig into this here today. I don't know. I might succeed, I might not, but I think it's worth a try. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is get all the mounting hardware off of the can. So, we have the cinch bolt. Closes this band around it. And we'll take the mounting elbow off. Okay, I'm getting the oil cup off the bottom next. These are usually always very dirty. This one's kind of a tight fit. I don't know if that's because the air cleaner body is so deformed or what. Usually they just slide right off. There we go. Well, I've seen a lot worse for being dirty. Yeah, that's quite the deal. I bet that sludge is an inch thick in the bottom of there. Well, we're just going to leave that be for now. Now to disassemble the contents of the can. We have this screw that cinches this. It's basically a clamp, but it's also a stop for the screens that are in here. And there are several of them, I think as many as 5 perhaps. These are meant to pull out. And again, these are a much tighter fit than they should be. I'm pretty sure it's because we have a distorted housing. But you take these out and clean each one individually during normal service and then put them back in, and that's pretty much the extent of these air cleaners. They're fairly simple. Sticking really hard up around here. There we go. There's one. Yeah, a little bit of mystery sludge in there, slime, but screen number 2. There's 3. Really, these are not that bad for being dirty. There's screen number 4. And screen number 5. Now, like I said, normally that's as far down as these are meant to go. But we're going to have to go farther because I want to take the media that's in this upper portion out. You can see we have another very similar style screen. The only difference is it is soldered there, looks like 4 places around, and it's also soldered to that tube that goes up the center and all the way out the top. So I'm going to make some measurements first to gauge how deep that is in the can, just so I can make sure that if I do put it back together, it gets put back in the same spot. It also looks like it's coned down in the middle. I think that's because this tube took such a hit that the whole thing pushed down in the center of this, actually coned it out. I'm pretty sure that thing's supposed to be flat. I don't know how it's showing up on the camera, but I'm going to melt these soldered joints, see if I can get this the rest of the way apart. All right, so back from outside, I was able to get the solder melted off of this screen right here, and then I also melted it out up here, and so far I've got this pipe on the way. I haven't had it all the way out yet. I figured I'd wait until I was in front of the camera. Okay, so there we go. There's that piece, and sure enough, that did get coned down quite a bit. That should be flat just like the other ones. I didn't have to melt the solder off of there. I think I'm going to leave that joint intact. You can see big flat spot here. It got quite beat up, so there's going to be a lot of reforming to do there. Now, to have a look at what's left in here, it looks like we just have screen portions now that don't have any type of framework around them at all. Let's see how many are in there. Okay, quite a few. We're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 already. 6, 7, 8. All right, and there's what we have inside. Of course, this piece is very dented right here. I'm gonna have to see if that comes out of there too, because there's no way I'm gonna be able to straighten all this with that still being inside. So, gosh, it's hard to say. It looks like this top piece is crimped on and soldered as well. I do have to take this side bracket off. You can see that was pulled. It looks like there's 4 rivets, and then it was soldered as well, so that piece is gonna have to come off for sure. Let me do some detective work here and decide how many more pieces have to come out. All right, just back from outside again, and give you a little bit of an update. I was able to get this piece loosened up, and it comes out, and of course this was spot welded instead of soldered, so I had to take the Dremel in there with a little bit of a stone on the end and grind those spot welds off enough to pop that loose. But we got it out. I'm pretty sure I can flatten it back out again. So, final piece I need to take off is this piece, because it pulled and broke the soldered seal and everything else. And of course, it's not going to be as straightforward as I was hoping. They do have these 4, it's like rivets in here. So you see I've got these 2 out already. So that's what they look like. The domed, or this shouldered portion is on the inside, and they put them in from the inside and then peened them out here. So again, I took the Dremel and ground them off until I was just starting to contact the material of the bracket, and then they're also soldered on the inside so that it seals. You can see these 2 on this side, hopefully you can see, are still soldered in place. So you can see where I melted the solder off of the shouldered heads in here, and then was able to take a punch and drive them straight in. And of course I need to get all 4 of those rivets out, because the way this thing mounts on the can, the rivets don't go straight in, they all come in at an angle. So until you can get them all 4 pulled out, you're not going to be able to get this piece to come straight off. even more so because it looks like the can has a lip that's molded around the inside of this, so this piece is going to have to come straight off. So what I'll do is go back outside. Since I don't run torches in here, I'll melt the solder off of these two. Well, I got to grind the heads off first, getting ahead of myself. Then I'll melt the solder off of those two, knock those out, melt the solder off of this, and hopefully that piece comes out. And I'm thinking that's about as far down as we need to go to see if I can start straightening the can. Sizzle, sizzle, I can hear it in the snow. There we go. A little bit warm. Clean some of this old solder off of here. So here we are. There's the piece I just took off. They didn't have the solder too far under there, but, and of course, the four, I'm going to call them rivets that held that on. So, here's the can. Man, I don't know. This thing, oh, this thing's beat up. My gosh. Dent right here. This whole top is caved in. Heavily dented. All around there. Look how much that dives in. Oh, that's bad. Heavily dented here. But the bottom is still, for the most part, round. Inside actually doesn't look that bad, really. So, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be able to salvage this. But I'm going to try. I'm pretty good at straightening metal. That's not really going to be an issue because this is pretty thin stuff. I have lots of hammers, dollies, and I've got some time running them, so I'm not that worried about straightening this out. Some of the metal is going to be a little bit stretched. You can't deform that much without stretching. I don't know if I'm going to have to shrink or if I can just take it all back out cold, but I'm going to try and reform it. And to reassemble, I'm not the best solderer in the world, but I'm not afraid to practice either. So, like I said, how much worse can this get other than, you know, as bad as it is already? I think this is the perfect practice project right here. You can't be afraid to try something new or to try something that you're not very good at. You know, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you can always redo it or you can always go find another one. So, all right. Man. Yeah, I've got some hours ahead of me tinking on this with a hammer, but I think I'm going to start there. Again, guys, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not, but we got to try, all right?